Good morning, I'm Ginger Fitzpatrick.
And I'm Teo Torres. We're going to get really close to some records here in the next day or two. No kidding, in October.
Yeah. One little blast of summer-like weather, Tamara.
Yeah, exactly, especially for the heart of the afternoon. And you know, it's that time of day when you're picking up the kids from school, or maybe you leave the office and you want to do something outside. You say, wow, it feels a lot like summer. Now, the morning feels really comfortable still. At least we're trending in the 50s for the morning start. You see here at Sutter Health Park, the flags barely budging. We've got calm winds out there. Temperatures right now are nestled in the mid-50s. I expect around daybreak, which happens after the 7 o'clock hour, 7:18 is your sunrise today. We're looking at temps mid to upper 50s at that point, lower 70s by 10 a.m. and then plenty of sunshine, light north winds, and highs today will push into the upper 80s around the valley floor. Today in the foothills, you're looking at daytime highs in the lower to mid 80s. May have some rounds of hazy sky as some wildfire smoke circulates a bit better beyond noon today, but overall a very warm forecast even lining up in the foothills. I do expect as we head through the next couple of days, warmer temperatures, light winds, and some hazy skies. Coming up in your full forecast, I'll talk about when those temperatures are trending cooler. May line up just in time for the weekend. 6:01 is the time. Checking in with Aaron to see how the highways look.
Yep, and we're starting in the Tracy Triangle right now. That's a live look at what it looks like over on 580 right now. A lot of gridlock right now, but there's not any incidents, so that's fantastic. 6:02 this morning. If we take a look at our times, everything under 30 minutes headed to the Bay. Now, Stockton, Lathrop, Manteca also doing very nicely this morning. No incidents to speak of, just regular construction projects that we're very used to at this point. Sacramento doing fine too. One incident that just popped up, I want to get that video up for you. So there is a car, this is Fruit Ridge and I-5 right now. Car hit that wall that really skirts along the interstate. Doesn't appear to have any injuries, but if that persists, again, I-5 and Fruit Ridge, that will cause some backup. If we take a look at our drive times across Sacramento, we are still doing very nicely, mostly in the green. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Aaron.
Well, happening today, the Stockton Schools community is going to be learning more about the state of the district.
This comes on the heels of a major warning from the state. Melanie Wingo is in Stockton now with more about the report school leaders will deliver and programs that will be highlighted. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, the superintendent of schools, Dr. Michelle Rodriguez, will deliver that State of the District address, and it's all scheduled to happen right here at Franklin High School a little bit later this morning. Now, the State of the Stockton Unified School District is happening just 1 week after we learned California's Department of Education has listed Stockton Unified as high risk following a state audit revealed the mishandling of district funds over a several years time period. The district the Department of Education put the district on that high-risk list to increase oversight and to help it comply with state and federal requirements. Now, one of the issues raised by that audit involved the use of federal funds during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's unclear at this point, however, if the superintendent who took on her role in July will actually discuss that high-risk distinction. The district only saying in a news release that she will highlight one of the career technical education classes that is happening in the district, Women in Construction. We have also learned from the district that actor and activist Edward James Olmos will be the keynote speaker at this event. Reporting live in Stockton this morning, Melanie Wingo, KCRA 3 News.
All right, Melanie, thank you. Well, this morning's presentation, by the way, by invitation only, but it will be streamed online for parents. That begins at 9:30 a.m.
Now let's go to the very latest on the war in Israel. And we are getting some new images this morning of the overnight blast that happened at a hospital in northern Gaza. As many as 300 people have died. Both Israel and Hamas are denying responsibility. Palestinian health officials say hundreds of people are injured. Many of those killed were women and children who were using the hospital as a shelter. Hamas blamed the explosion on an Israeli airstrike. Israel denies the attack, saying a rogue rocket fired by Hamas hit the hospital. Now, this morning, more Israeli troops are stationed near the border. Israeli defense forces say that they are preparing to expand the aerial attack. So far, no large-scale ground offensive into Gaza is announced. Israel's military is telling civilians in Gaza City and other parts of northern Gaza to go south. Now, earlier Earlier this morning, President Biden did arrive in Israel in a show of solidarity. He will not be meeting with Arab leaders who suddenly called off a summit following the bombing of the hospital. KCRA3's Amy Lou is in Washington, our newsroom this morning, explaining what all of this means in terms of the war going forward.
Well, Biden's canceled trip to Jordan is a missed opportunity to meet face-to-face with Arab leaders and keep the war from spreading. He arrived in Israel earlier this morning, where the prime minister and president greeted him. Biden is meeting with them to discuss security in the region as Israel prepares for a potential ground invasion of Gaza in response to Hamas's attacks. As Biden left Washington last night, Arab leaders called off a summit in Jordan after a hospital bombing in Gaza killed hundreds. Israel and Hamas each blamed the other side for the attack. Ahead of a meeting with Israel's prime minister, Biden says he sides with Israel's initial assessment of the bombing, that a Palestinian militant group is responsible and that the U.S. will send additional military support to Israel. But he reiterated that Israelis and Palestinian civilians are suffering at the hands of Hamas.
Americans are grieving with you. They really are. And Americans are worried. Americans are worried because they know this is not an easy field to navigate.
In a statement, President Biden said he was outraged by the hospital bombing and said that innocent civilian life should be protected at all costs. He's directing his national security team to figure out what exactly happened. In Washington, I'm Amy Lou, KCRA 3 News.
Just announced moments ago, the U.S. has placed sanctions against a group of 10 Hamas members and its financial network. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the U.S. is taking a decisive action to target Hamas's financiers and facilitators. While President Biden is beginning his visit in Israel today, he's also considering a $100 billion funding request. The massive supplemental request would include defense aid for Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan, would be for a full year of funding. U.S. Senate leaders expect that Biden will send the request by the end of the week. Back here, closer to home, the Jewish community in Davis came together to pray for Israel. Dozens of people gathered at Central Park to sing and pray for the victims of Hamas's terror attack on Israel. Some people know people who are living in Israel, or maybe they have lived there themselves. Organizers say that they felt they needed to bring people together for healing.
And yes,
we needed to come together as a community to show our support for one another, because we feel, as Rabbi Simon said in his remarks, we feel alone. We feel like there isn't mourning for the deaths of Jewish people in Israel right now.
The operas of birdsong.
Davis police were out on patrol during the vigil because of heightened tension over the war.
Well, the city of Sacramento pushing back against a lawsuit claiming it has created a public health crisis by not doing enough about homelessness.
There is a new legal motion that's targeting the district attorney for exceeding his authorities in suing the city. KCRA 3's Mike Tassell live outside Sacramento City Hall now with these strong words of criticism.
Yeah, and good morning. And we're right across the street from City Hall. So just take a look over my shoulder along with me. And any given morning or overnight hours, this a common scene: tent encampments along city sidewalks. And last month, the Sacramento County District Attorney filed a city lawsuit, or a civil lawsuit, claiming that the city leaders were not doing enough to address homelessness and also creating and enabling a public health crisis. What is new is that the city is now responding to that lawsuit, saying the district attorney far exceeded his authority to sue the city and that the city is immune from such claims that he's making. In filing a motion, the city called the DA's civil lawsuit, quote, as surprising as it is novel, adding, but those are not admirable qualities when they lead to a waste of government and judicial resources. The filing goes on to say the DA's actions are misguided, vague, and ambiguous. So back out here live, what the city's asking in this new motion is for a court to rule that the civil lawsuit filed by the district attorney is invalid and therefore should essentially be thrown out. A ruling, though, not expected from the court until January of next year at the earliest. Live outside City Hall, Mike Tassell, KCRA 3 News.
Mike, thank you. The district attorney is expected to file his response to this motion in court.
Well, Sacramento leaders hoping to gain some new perspective on the homelessness problem by getting some help from out of state. Last night, they held a roundtable with the former mayor of Houston. Over the past decade, the homeless population in Houston fell by more than 60%. Former Mayor Annise Parker says the first thing she did was to make sure service providers and nonprofits worked together. She also cracked down on funding. Organizations were only allowed to get money to address a specific part of the problem. She says the problem essentially boils down to housing.
Any city in America can make a more efficient system of managing homelessness, but ultimately you're not solving the problem unless you are building more housing, either aspirational housing or affordable housing or housing with the permanent wraparound social services.
Some real estate developers at the roundtable say they have presented cost-effective plans of the city and county and are hoping for the best. Well, parents within a small El Dorado County community are in shock this morning after an elementary school principal was arrested. He is suspected of sharing explicit content and making inappropriate contact with minors online. A district attorney's office says this man, 37-year-old Boyd Haller, was arrested outside of his Pollock Pines home yesterday morning. Officials say Haller is the principal at Pioneer Elementary School in the community of Somerset. Haller's been charged with 4 counts of sending harmful matter to a minor and 1 count of contacting or communicating with a minor for the purpose of engaging in lewd behavior. Parents we spoke with say they never expected to hear something like this in their town.
It's honestly, it's shocking because it's such a little tiny school. We live in a little town, and you know, a word goes a long ways out here.
According to the El Dorado County District Attorney's Office, all of Haller's charges are felonies. The DA's office says he will be in court for his arraignment tomorrow.
Well, the family of a missing 15-year-old from Sacramento is pleading for some help. Police say that Kaori Robinson was last seen Saturday morning on Ivy Street in Del Paso Heights. It's near Grant Union High School. It's just off of Marysville Boulevard at Roanoke Avenue. Here is another photo now of the girl. Police say that she was last seen wearing a dark gray crop top, blue jeans, and gray New Balance shoes. If you see Kaori, you are asked to call the Sacramento police.